Black Ops 6 just had a huge weapon balancing update, and they removed visual recoil from all the weapons, making the game feel so much better. So I have for you today the new top 5 meta weapons that you should be using with the best classes. With the first weapon being an honorable mention of the AMES 85. This is one of the worst guns in the game, but also one of the best because it has absolutely no recoil and a lot of bullet velocity, making the weapon feel very accurate and just super easy to use. Plus, it is the ranked play meta. So I will be giving you guys a 5 attachment and an 8 attachment build. Both of them are meta in Warzone as well, so it doesn't really matter the reason you're here. You should find some good builds. Now for the optic, I really like the Kepler Micro Flex, but you guys could also rock the Acu Spot. In Warzone, I really like the Prisma Tech, although use whichever one you want. The optic really doesn't matter. Now for the muzzle, we are using the suppressor. If you do want to maximize that recoil control, I would run the compensator, but the suppressor is going to keep you off the radar, making it a whole lot easier to streak up, and I think you guys will do better with that suppressor. For the next attachment, we are going to be adding the extended mag, although you could take this off if you do want to maybe move around the map faster. You can add the Ranger foregrip. Maybe if you're only playing on the huge maps, then you might want to add the reinforced barrel. For me though, the extended mag is going to come in clutch because it does take a decent amount of bullets to kill. Now for the rear grip, since the ADS isn't that good with the weapon, we are going to be using the quick draw grip, making the weapon feel a little bit lighter and it's just easier to snap onto those enemies. And then to get that recoil control, we are going to be using the recoil springs. I really like these ones because it gives you a balance of that recoil gun kick, the horizontal and the vertical recoil control. The underbarrel usually only gives you horizontal. The muzzles give you gun kick and vertical, so this is a good way to get all 3 of those values. Here's going to be the best 5 attachment aims. If you are playing Warzone, I would take off the quick draw grip and add the reinforced barrel. Now for the gunfighter build, you will have to go use the gunfighter wild card, and that's going to unlock the 8 attachments on here. We are going to be using the reinforced barrel just so we can maximize that range on the weapon. For the underbarrel, we are going to be using the Ranger foregrip. The vertical foregrip is better if you want to get like the most amount of recoil control, but since the gun's already easy to use, I would rather move around a little bit faster as well as getting that recoil control. And then for the last attachment, we are going to be adding the infiltrator stock. This is going to allow you to strafe very fast. Make sure you always strafe in your gunfights. Gives you a little bit of extra aim assist as well as makes you a harder target to hit. And so if you do that in your gunfights, you'll notice how much better of a player you will be. That's my favorite 8 attachment build. Now for the first gun on this list, this is going to be the XM4, one of my favorite weapons in the game, and I think I just did like a dog whistle. So with this XM4, we're going to have no recoil, going to be off the radar. You got that precision sight and a whole lot of ammo, pretty similar to that AMES class since we are, you know, just rocking the suppressor. Again, if you want to maximize recoil control, rock the compensator, but if you can do good with the suppressor, I definitely would use that suppressor. Now the iron sights aren't that good on this gun, so we're going to be using the Kepler, but again, use whichever optic you want. We're not going to be adding a barrel or an underbarrel since for multiplayer, you know, you don't really need to have more than 40 meters of effective damage range. Most of your gunfights are going to be in like 35 meters, so you're going to get more value after while you have the quick draw grip because it makes the weapon snappier. So if someone does, you know, sneak up on you, you're gonna be able to ADS pretty quick. We got the extended mag, so you don't really have to worry about ammo. And then for the stock, we are using the infiltrator stock for the same reasons as before. Makes you a harder target to hit since you can just strafe a little bit faster. This is my favorite 5 attachment XM4. Now if you do want to rock this thing in Warzone, again, take off that quick draw grip, go over to the barrel and add that reinforced barrel. Now if you do want to use the 8 attachment version, we are going to be going over and adding that same barrel. We're going to be using that reinforced barrel. The more bullet velocity you have, the better hit scan you have. So basically there's not going to be any bullet travel. It's going to make it feel like you're on that very high, the very low ping. Everything's going to register very well on the game the higher bullet velocity you have. Now for the underbarrel, again, we are going to be using that Ranger foregrip. It says that it increases that sprinting movement speed, but it also increases the tactical sprint speed. It doesn't tell us over here. It just says how much faster we are when we're sprinting, but it's about like 4 to 5% for that tactical sprint speed increase. Now we are going to be keeping everything else on here, and we're just going to be going over to the fire mods, and you guys got 2 different options. So I really do like the rapid fire. It kills the enemies a little bit faster. It's going to be increasing that rate of fire by 9%, and then it doesn't really hurt the range too much, especially because we have that reinforced barrel. And so for me, this is going to be my favorite 8 attachment XM4 build. But if you want one that's a little bit more consistent, then I would run the overpressured rounds, go over to the barrel, and then add the long barrel. So now you're maximizing damage range as well as getting a lot of bullet velocity. So this is more of a well-rounded XM4. And then another one that's pretty simple to use that just has like very low recoil. You add the recoil springs and then use the reinforced barrel. By the way, if you're stressing about camos or simply just don't have time for them, check out my long-term sponsor Guapsi. They will legitimately play in your account to hard unlock whatever you please. They can do the camos to the gun levels, and this goes for zombies, Warzone, and multiplayer. They don't use an unlock tool, and this doesn't break 2S, so there is no risk of being banned, and no one has before. So if you want to save your time and energy, go to the top link in my description and check out guapsi.com. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. There isn't like one set best build. It kind of depends on the map that you're on and like the enemies you're going against, like their skill and things like that. For this next gun that we are going to be going over, this is going to be the JACKAL PDW, one of, if not the best SMG in the game. Has a very fast sprint out TTK, so if you're sprinting and you see the enemy, it's going to be the fastest killing SMG. For the first attachment, we are going to be adding the suppressor. Previously, we would use the compensator, but since in the recent update, they removed that visual recoil, a lot of that gun kick. Now it's really easy to see where you're shooting. The sights really don't jump around, so we can get away with rocking a suppressor, keeping us off the radar, making it a whole lot easier to streak up. And that's pretty important since this is an SMG. You're going to be in the enemy's face. Since the bullet velocity is already pretty good, like if the bullet velocity is past 500 meters per second for an SMG, I usually just add the long barrels since the damage range on these SMGs isn't that good at all. So this is going to make it so it's a whole lot better. The damage fall off isn't going to be as crazy. You're going to be able to use the gun at range and actually compete against the ARs. Now for the underbarrel, if you do want to maximize recoil control, remember, use the vertical foregrip. But if you're pretty good at the game, or you're just warmed up with the gun, use the Ranger foregrip. You're going to be able to move around faster, and it's going to give you that recoil control. And so now the gun should be very easy to use, and it's going to feel a lot lighter. Throw on the extended mag 1, just makes it so you don't really have to worry about reloading as much. In Warzone, I usually add the extended mag 2, or maybe if I'm on a super small map and I'm not really dying, the extended mag 2 does come in clutch a lot. For the rear grip, this is a must on basically every SMG build if you play aggressively. So if you notice that you slide around, you dive, use the Omni movement, make sure you use the ergonomic grip. This is going to increase that slide to fire speed, the dive to fire speed, and it's going to increase the ADS speed. And so now if we look at the overall stats, you guys can see our slide to fire speed is going to be cut over in half, making it so the gun just is a lot more responsive when you come out of that slide. The gun's going to feel a lot snappier because the ADS speed is going to be increased. And so overall, it's just going to be so much better for that movement. This is going to be my favorite 5 attachment JACKAL PDW. For the 8 attachment build, we are not going to be adding a optic. You're going to get a lot more value if you rock this certain laser. A lot of people don't really know how good this laser is. I've been trying to make it more popular. This is going to be the Sturlock laser. This basically increase the hip fire to ADS accuracy. So it doesn't sound too crazy, but if we go in the firing range, you guys can see before we're fully ADS, we're actually going to have 100% accuracy, making it very easy, or making it like very accurate when you're jumping around a corner. You can actually start firing the gun before you're fully ADS, and you're still going to hit 100% of your shots, making this laser actually kind of overpowered. Yes, the enemies can see the laser when you're ADS, but it's a blue laser, and the blue lasers are very difficult to see, so the enemies actually won't really see it whatsoever. Now for the next attachment, we are going to be using the balanced stock. I really like this balanced stock because it increases the aim walking movement speed, your strafing movement speed, the hip fire movement speed, and your general movement speed. Keep in mind that movement speed is just your walking speed, and then we just get basically a balance of all types of strafe speed. You can strafe like this faster, you can strafe like this faster, and you can walk a little bit faster, so it gives you that balance because it's the balanced stock. Now for the last attachment, we are going to be adding the overpressured rounds. This is just going to make it so now we have a higher bullet velocity to where we can use the gun at range and we never have to lead the shots, and it's going to make it feel like you're on that clean ping, and then you're maximizing the damage range with the long barrel. And so this build right here, absolutely phenomenal. I really like the JACKAL. If you do want a little bit more recoil control, rock that compensator on there, or you could take off the fire mod and add the recoil springs if you still want to be off that radar. Now for the next build, this is going to be the C9, otherwise known as the MP5, one of my favorite guns in the game. And since the recent updates, since the sights don't really shake around that much, it is just so unbelievably clean to use, and I think you guys are going to really like this build. If you do find this video helpful, a like is appreciated, and if you want to get more content like this, hit the subscribe button with the noties on. Now for the barrel, we are going to be using a different barrel, the short barrel. This is going to increase that jumping ADS speed. Whenever you jump in this game, it's going to give you like a delay to your ADS, and then it also delays when you can fire. So that could get you killed a lot of the time, and why jumping isn't that good. This makes it so jump shotting is actually pretty good. Now you can jump around the corner without having a delay, and you would be surprised how many more kills you get up close when you do run the short barrel. It's super fun, even on the ARs. If you do want to maximize like just the overall stats of the weapon, I would use the long barrel since the damage range on this gun isn't that good. For me though, I have a lot more fun and I do better with the short barrel. Again, for the muzzle, we are rocking the suppressor. Again, if you want to maximize recoil control, use that compensator. For the underbarrel, we are using the Ranger foregrip. There's a lot of horizontal recoil in this weapon, but once you're used to it, there really isn't that much, or it's like really easy to control, to where I do a lot better with the Ranger foregrip. I get more value out of this, but maybe you're a little bit newer or you're not warmed up yet, then you might want to use the vertical, and it makes the gun actually really easy to use when you have the vertical. But there's a really good 8 attachment build that I want to show you guys that I absolutely love for this weapon. Again, we are using the ergonomic grip for the same reasons as before. And then for the stock, we are using the no stock. The reason I'm using this one over the other stocks is that it makes it so your hip fire accuracy up close is a lot tighter, and then you also can walk a little bit faster. And I just really like to hip fire and be in the enemy's face with the MP5, and so it just makes it so I miss less shots. Therefore, I'm going to be able to kill the enemies a little bit faster. For the 8 attachment build, this is going to be one of my favorite builds in the entire game. We're going to be adding the recoil springs. The rapid fire is really good, but you got to like put the barrel inside them Diddy style, and so the recoil springs make the weapon a little bit more consistent. Then we're going to go over to the laser. We're going to add the fast motion laser. This is going to make it so just like all of your hip fire spread is going to be a lot tighter. And so then you're just going to miss less shots, and that no stock allows you to strafe hip firing a little bit faster. So now the enemies won't be able to hit you, but you're going to be able to hit them a lot, and you're going to have no recoil with basically no delays because we have the short barrel tied in with the ergonomic. And then we're going to be going over to the magazine, adding the extended mag 1. Warzone, you probably want to add the extended mag 2. And so this build right here is such a phenomenal C9. Let me know in the comments your favorite build off this list if you can. I'm really curious of what you guys are really liking. For me, it's probably going to be this one, although the last build is going to be like the all-time best one in the entire game. Before that though, I'm going to show you guys this nice PP. I got the best PP on the market. This is a no recoil max mobility PP build, and we got the 5 attachment right here, and I will be going over the 8 attachments. So as you guys can see, there's no recoil on the gun. Rock the suppressor. You're going to be off the radar, making it so much easier to streak up. For the barrel, we are going to be using the long barrel, maximizing that damage range. Since there's basically no recoil on the weapon, you're going to be able to use it like an AR. This is going to make it so the bullets don't, it feels like you're actually shooting some frozen peas instead of those cannon ones. For the magazine, this is where things get a little bit different, like personal preference. I really like the fast mag. So one benefit of this gun is that it has so much ammo that you don't even need to add a magazine, but then the mobility isn't that good. So I found a way to basically like still have a lot of ammo, but then have a very good amount of mobility. This increases the ADS speed, your sprint to fire speed, and it makes it so you can reload way faster, but you are losing about like 16 or 14 rounds. And so if you don't like that, you could honestly just rock the regular fast mag. It brings it down to 50, which is more than enough. Or you could take that off, or add the overpressured rounds, and then now you're going to have that hit scan potential while also maximizing that damage range. If you're only up close and you want a lot of ammo, so you don't want to run the magazine, rock the rapid fire. It's going to increase that rate of fire by about 12%. And it feels absolutely phenomenal, but I enjoy the weapon more with the fast mag too. Now for the rear grip, again, we are using the ergonomic grip, increase that slide of fire, the dive of fire, and that ADS speed. Then for the stock, we got the infiltrator stock, increasing the aim walking speed. This just makes it so you can strafe very fast. I like this one a little bit more over the balance one because when you are strafing like this, you're maximizing the strafe speed with the infiltrator. The only benefit with the balance is that you can strafe a little bit faster when you're hip firing like this, but a lot of the time I'm just ADS with the weapon, just strafing at long range. And so this is my favorite 5 attachment PP919. Remember, you could take off that magazine, and then you could add the overpressured, or if you're only up close, you can add the rapid fire. Now for the 8 attachment build, we are going to be adding the Strelak laser, increasing the hip fire to ADS accuracy. Then we're going to go over to the fire mod, and we are going to be adding the overpressured rounds. I just really like the overpressure because it keeps the weapon being consistent with basically no recoil. You have a lot more range, and so it just feels so unbelievably good. Warzone, I guess you would probably want to just rock the fast mag or no magazine whatsoever. Multiplayer is when you can get away with the fast mag too. I really like the iron sight, so I'm not going to be adding an optic, but just for the screenshot, here's going to be the best 8 attachment PP919 build. Now for the last build on this list, this is going to be the KRIG C. The best gun in the game. This gun was so good that it got banned from rank play pretty fast, and you guys can see there's basically no recoil. If I'm going for a nuke, this is going to be the gun I'm using. I did miss a couple shots right there, so if you guys are missing some of your shots and you are warmed up with the gun, like, you know, you really tried it out, you just still can't really hit that many shots, then I do recommend taking off that suppressor, adding the compensator. It's going to really reduce the overall bounce on the weapon, and it gives you that gun kick control, so it makes the sights just shake a whole lot less, so you can see a little bit more of what you're shooting. But in that recent update, they just basically added a bunch of recoil gun kick to every weapon, to where that's why I'm rocking the suppressor on most of my builds now. For the optic, again, we got that Kepler micro flex. Use whichever optic you want, though. Another very good one is going to be the Kepler red dot. It's a nice like zoom, but then like also not like too much. For the magazine, we are using the extended mag 1, since you're not going to really be dying, and it sucks to run out of ammo like mid gunfight, so that's going to prevent that. For the rear grip, a lot of good players will rock the ergonomic grip just for that reason of like it cuts that slide of fire delay in half. But a lot of time I'm going to be at range letting the enemies push me. I'm sitting in power positions, and I'm going to be like crack aiming and snapping on the enemies, so I'm going to be using the quick jaw grip. If you don't know what that crack aiming is and you basically want to have aimbot and learn how to abuse aim assist, check out this video right here. I go in depth with all the aiming, and if you want a movement guide, check out this one. Those two videos, if you master all those tips in the videos, you'll become a very good player. Now for the mods, we are going to be using the recoil springs just because we don't have any recoil control in this gun. It is known to be a little bit bouncy, and so the recoil springs is just going to give us that balance of that recoil gun kick control, the horizontal recoil, and that vertical recoil control. And then so very balanced build. Now for the 8 attachment build, we are going to be adding the reinforced barrel just to make it so no matter the range that we're at, we're going to be popping off. Although try out the short barrel, please use the short barrel on this gun. It is so enjoyable. But here, I'll show you guys a little bonus build at the end. But reinforced for this one. For the underbarrel, rock that Ranger for eliminating that side-to-side bounce, as well as making it so we can move around faster. For the stock, we are going to be adding the infiltrator stock so we can strafe faster, making it so the enemies can't really hit us whatsoever. And then yeah, we can't add a laser onto this build. This is going to be the best, like most consistent 8 attachment KRIG C. If you guys want a little bonus build, one of my favorite builds in the entire game. Short barrel, compensator, and then add the rapid fire. So now it's going to be, you know, it already has one of the fastest TTKs. Now it's really going to have one of the fastest TTKs while also having a lot of mobility, making it really good for rushing. And then the only downside is that you're going to be on the radar. This is a very good bonus build. My nose is unbelievably itchy, so I'm going to wrap up the video here. If you guys did find it helpful, hit the subscribe button with notifications on. With all that said, deuces.